Hi Gemini, welcome to September. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And this month we have Venus moving into Virgo on September 6th. We have a full moon in Pisces on the 10th. And right after that, Mercury goes retrograde until October. It will go from Libra into Virgo, backwards. And then we have a full moon or a new moon in Libra on the 25th. So let's see what the cards say for Gemini for love and relationships for September. What does Gemini need to know about love and relationships for the month of September? What does Gemini need to know about love and relationships for September 2022? What does Gemini need to know? What is coming up for Gemini for love and relationships? Three of Cups, the Magician, the Four of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, the Eight of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Temperance, the Six of Wands, the Death card, and the Nine of Pentacles. And the card at the bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so the Three of Cups, this is a card of parties, celebrations, getting together with friends that are supportive of you. So I feel like this could be a very social month for you. And there's possible that love could happen through connections with friends, through some kind of party that you go to, or you're feeling you could have more than one option in love too, with the Three of Cups. Sometimes that could relate to a third party situation or just more than one option. You have the Magician here. So you might be, this is a card, well, this is your card. It's a card of communication, being a good storyteller, learning how to manifest through thoughts and ideas, knowing how to communicate. So I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of talking, a lot of manifesting this month. And the way, if you're not in a relationship, the way to bring one in is through visualization and thoughts. So this card is about creating manifesting what you want by channeling your energy, your thoughts, and visualizing success in a relationship, success, to bring those things to you. So if you're having any problems, the way out is through seeing a successful outcome, using that power of visualization, and your gift of communication. Communication is going to be really important. Mostly now because Mercury is going to be retrograding, so it's going to cause us to go back and redo things and think about how we're communicating, what we need to, where we need to compromise. But also Mars is in Gemini, so both of those planets are in planets of communication and negotiation. And Mars is going to be in Gemini for like 6-7 months, up till like maybe March of next year. So anyway, in the past you have the Four of Wands. So you're already in you could be in a stable situation already. For some of you, you might already be in a relationship that's successful, that you think could lead to a commitment. But I feel like you're almost afraid of it because of this Eight of Swords energy. You have the Four of Pentacles. This is a card of holding on to something, financial security. So I think you might be focused on finance this month. And also you want to feel secure in a relationship. But you have to be careful with the Four of Pentacles that you're not too controlling, that you're not, like, you have to kind of go with the flow, especially if it's a new relationship. Don't try to control the outcome. Just kind of take it day by day, and it will develop into something without having to feel like you have to control every aspect of it. The Wheel of Fortune is in the recent past, so things are changing. I feel like you're coming out of a difficult time, especially with the Ten of Wands here. If you felt overworked, like you've been working really hard, the Ten of Wands is carrying like a heavy burden. But you're about to come to the end of that burden, you're putting it down. So if you've been struggling with something, especially with this Eight of Swords here, this is a card of fear that's keeping you locked into a situation. So you might be afraid to move out of something. For some of you who have in a relationship that has been more of a burden or a challenge, that's coming to an end. I feel like you're going to be ending a cycle and moving into something better. But there might be, you might have to compromise this month. I feel like because you have this Temperance card here. And this is the Temperance card is it's in your fear sector. It's in your psychological, negative thinking sector. The Temperance is about learning to find balance. So for that could mean, and learning to meet someone halfway. So it could mean that you're with someone where you're both very different, but you have a lot of compatibility. It's just that you approach life differently. And you have to try to see things from the other person's perspective. And you may have to find some kind of win-win situation or find the balance where you compromise and you meet each other halfway. Where you have to recognize that, okay, they're this way, I have my habits, they have their habits. I can't change that person, but maybe we could find some common ground in the middle. And that's what's going to help your relationship if you're going through a difficult time. But I feel like you're coming to the end of the struggle because the Ten of Wands means the end. You're ready to put the burden down. So if you're feeling weary, like I'm constantly trying to make this happen and nothing's happening. And in your environment, you have the Six of Wands, which is a victory card. It's a victory. It could even be travel. But I feel like that's more career success. So I feel like if you're having any kind of financial struggles, I think maybe you're finishing up a project and you're going to have more work-life balance. So maybe you've been so busy working, you haven't had time to give to a relationship. So that's another thing with the Temperance. It's more about finding that balance. Not going to extremes, not overreacting, taking the middle ground. But you should be experiencing some kind of victory or some kind of recognition in the near future with the Six of Wands, where people are recognizing your skills. Now you have the Death card here in your wish fulfillment. And that doesn't mean physical death. What it means is your life, you're transforming and your needs are transforming. So what you might have thought you wanted in the past is changing. And the Death is about releasing the past. It's about ending a cycle that has no meaning. So you could be still holding on to some relationship from the past or some thoughts about a past life that you've had. Like you might have been in a relationship with someone in the past and maybe it ended in a bad way and you still have that residual energy affecting your current relationships. So it's time to break from the past. It's time to bless it, release it, and clear it out so that you can let the new come in. Because if you're still like thinking about a past person or you haven't gotten closure on a past relationship, it could be interfering with your current situation. So you want to have a clean slate. You want to make room for the new and clear out any old baggage from any past relationships. And if a relationship has ended, you have to realize like, okay, that was my life then. Now I'm entering a new cycle. And I need to just, not dwell on the past and focus on the future. Focus on what I want to create. That's this Magician card. What do you want to create in your life? Especially if you're not in a relationship. Well, even if you are, you can still use these qualities. The Magician's gift is learning how to manifest. I mean, we all have that ability to manifest what we want in this world. And the first place that we start is with thoughts, thinking, dreaming. We dream our world into being. And the way we do that is through, everything starts with a thought. You can't create anything without first imagining it in your head. And then you have to communicate. You have to speak it to bring it into reality. Okay, I want to do this thing. First you're thinking about it, right? Then you're speaking it. And from thought comes words, and then from words come action. Then you say, okay, I'm going to develop a plan. How can I make this happen? And that's across the board. That can happen in any area of your life. Relationships, career, job, what you want to do for yourself, your path in life. Any goal that you have has to start with a thought. What you don't want to do is think in the negative. Think like, oh, I'm too old, or I'm too fat, or I don't have enough money, or, whatever the negative is that's stopping you from embracing your future and creating the life you want to live. You have to control those thoughts. That's so critical right now, especially now we have all this energy in Gemini and Virgo, Mercury. These are all communication signs and planets. So that's really important now, thoughts. Mercury is about thinking. Your ruling planet is Mercury. It's going to go retrograde, so you may have to rethink some things. And renegotiate your strategy or tweak your strategy in some way. Okay, what am I doing if I'm not getting what I want in a relationship, what am I not saying? What am I not doing? How can I change what I think? How can I change my behavior? How can I take a different approach? So you're going to be doing a lot of thinking this month on how you can bring improvements so that you don't have to struggle. Then you have the Nine of Pentacles as an outcome card. This is a card of independence, pretty much. So you may be feeling like, well, okay, my finances are finally working out. And especially, I think that you're going to see some kind of change in finances, possibly an improvement in finances. Or you might be getting a job where you're working for yourself, or you're working without supervision. You're like in charge. And now you're going to start to think, well, okay, what good is having all these things? Because this is the card of someone who's enjoying the fruits of their labor. Like they've got a nice house, they've got a roof over their head, they're feeling comfortable, they can afford to, go out to eat and do different things, but you're feeling lonely. So if you're not in a relationship, you may be feeling like, well, what good is having all these material things if I don't have anyone to share it with? And so you're going to be thinking about ways to bring more love into your life. And I think one of the ways, if you're not in a relationship, is to get out and socialize, connect with friends. And that will bring more opportunities to find love. And find work-life balance, too. You might get a break from all the heavy work you've been doing where you have more time to get out there. If you're in a relationship, then the key is communication. Being honest, dropping your guard, being authentic, telling the person how you feel, and releasing any ties to any past relationships. Don't let the past interfere with the present. So let's see what the angels have to say to Gemini, and then we'll get into the astrology. See what's happening this month. What messages do the angels have to say? As a matter of fact, you have the angel in your reading. You have the Archangel Michael here. So you're getting blessings from beyond. If you're being called to go in a certain direction, follow your intuition. Follow that calling. But also you could call out to the archangels for help, because they can't interfere with your life unless you ask. And if you ask, they're there for you. Okay, let's see what Gemini gets for this month. Courage. Okay. So your card for September, the message is, dare to be different, to make mistakes, create, for it is in creation that you exist. In this world of dreams that stem from the external heart, you are one with all creation. All is possible. Go forth and be true to yourself, for it is only through being true to you that you can be true to others. So there it is. Don't be afraid to be your best self, to show the world who you are, what you can do, both in relationships and in career. I'm seeing both energies here. So let's see what the astrology has to say for Gemini. So yeah, you have a full moon in your 10th house. That's the house of career. So the moon is with Neptune in the 10th house. The sun is in your 4th house. So you are balancing, home and career, work-life balance this month. And it's coming to a head at this full moon. And the moon it has some positive aspects, but it also has a little bit of a challenge. You've got Mars in Gemini in your first house, which actually I don't even see that too much as a challenge, other than you're going to want to take action. Like when Mars is in your sign, you feel like you have energy. So when Mars was in, what was the sign, Taurus, you probably felt like, oh, I don't have the energy, because that was in the 12th house. It was draining your energy. You were just not so tired all the time. You felt like, I don't have the energy to do what I want to do. But now Mars is in Gemini, and you're feeling like, okay, I can do this. You're feeling ambitious. You're feeling energetic. So don't go over the top and take on too much. Because Gemini, you're always juggling a lot of projects. Know what your limits are. Don't take on so many projects that you don't have time for love or your family. So that's where the challenge is going to be. Work-life balance. But you have the moon and Neptune in your 10th house, so there could be some weird things going on in your career. If you're doing something creative, that's great, because Neptune and the moon are great for creativity and inspiration. Like you might be channeling ideas, or if you're an artist or a musician, now's the time to take time and let that creativity flow through you. But if you're doing something else that's not involved with creativity, either creative writing, photography, music, whatever, anything creative, then you want to be sure that, because Neptune can sometimes bring confusion or deception, like you're not sure what path you should be on, you're trying to find your true path, you may want to do something that helps others in some way. Sometimes Neptune can be like social work. All those things are good for Neptune. If you're doing anything else, then you want to get clarity. And this full moon can bring clarity, because the full moon usually shines a light on things. So you're going to see the reality of your situation. You've got Uranus in the 12th house with the North Node. So there are some psychological issues you may need to work on. There could be some blockages that you're not seeing. The Uranus in the 12th house, Uranus represents authenticity and freedom. In the 12th house, maybe you're afraid to show your wild side, your innovative side. You're trying to toe the line and do whatever's expected of you. So maybe it's time for you to break free of that a little bit, especially because Uranus is squaring Saturn. And Saturn is in your 9th house. You might be following a belief system, or you're following, what you think is expected of you, but you're not being true to yourself. So Uranus is telling you need to break free of something, some restriction, something that's holding you back. Could be a fear. Whatever it is, it's psychological, because it's in your 12th house. So you have a psychological block that you need to work on and release. And it will help free you to be your authentic self, especially as Uranus moves out of Taurus. In a couple of years, in about three years, it'll move into your sign. That's when everything's going to hit the fan. You're going to really feel that energy of, I need to change things. But right now, it's percolating in your subconscious. So it's a good time to have some kind of counseling where you can get at things. What is it that I really want? What do I really need? How can I be my best self? How can I be my true self? What do I need to release or change about my life so that I can be living my best self? Now, Mercury, your ruling planet's in the 5th house. And it's opposing Jupiter in your 11th house, which isn't a bad thing. Jupiter is still a luck planet, no matter what. Even in an opposition, the only thing you have to watch out for is excess, like overdoing things. But Mercury in the 5th can bring a romance with someone that you really have a lot of good communication. You're sharing ideas, because Mercury is about communication, sharing ideas, especially in Libra. Mercury rules, diplomacy in Libra. Like, you want everybody to be happy. You're willing to negotiate. You're wanting to keep the peace. You might be meeting someone that's very charming, that's very a good communicator. Now, Mercury's going to go retrograde, and it will go back into your fourth house. So then you'll be focused on home things. You might have to speak up about some things with your family, home and family, or where you want to live. When Mercury is retrograde, you may go back to a project that you put aside, and because you didn't have time to do it, now's the time to go back and redo it. So if it could be something around the house. Maybe you're trying to fix up your house, or you've got ideas on how you want to change things. Now's the time to go. When Mercury's retrograde, it's not always a bad thing. But when Mercury retrogrades, it's going back into Virgo, and it's strong in Virgo. Virgo is one of its ruling. Mercury rules Virgo. It's strong in Virgo. It's at home in Virgo. So it's a good time to go back and pick up a project that you put aside because you didn't have time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Work on it. When you redo something under a Mercury retrograde, you can make it better. And that could even be communication with family members, or home or family. Like, so if you're not in the right home, maybe you want to think about, where do I want to live? How can I fix up my home so that it feels right to me? How can I repair relationships with family? What do I need to communicate? Those are all the things while Mercury's retrograde. You have Venus right now in the fourth house. So Venus is telling you got to fix up your love nest. It's wanting to beautify your home in some way. So it's a good time to go back and redo things when Mercury goes retrograde, which it will do around this full moon, right? So if you started a project but you didn't finish it, you could finish it, and it'll be nice. And you have the support of Venus to make it beautiful. And plus, Venus helps with family relationships too. Anyone that you're living with will be getting along better, especially if you learn how to communicate to each other. If you're willing to communicate and compromise, things could get better. You have Chiron and Jupiter in your 11th house. So there's some healing that needs to be done in a friendship, with a friendship. Jupiter can bring luck through friends, opportunities through friends. So you can have some kind of career opportunity or some other opportunity through the groups that you know, the friendships that you know. But there could also be a friendship that you need to connect with and do some healing around. You have Uranus. Let's see. Okay, Uranus is in the 12th. Let's see. So this full moon, though, will bring things to the surface. And it's a good time, especially if you want to tackle some psychological issues. It'll be easier for you to see them at the full moon and know what you need to change. Then we have the new moon in Libra, and that's favorable to your sign. It's happening in your 5th house. Could be a new romance. Could be a new creative project. A new relationship with a child. If you don't want to have children, you need to be careful around this time because the new moon could bring children. Now, this new moon is really interesting because it's at 2 degrees Libra. So before it moves into Libra and conjuncts the sun, it's going to hit Mercury in Virgo at 27 degrees and Venus in Virgo. So the moon's going to travel through your 4th house, hit Mercury and Venus, trine Pluto, and then it's going to become the new moon in the 5th house opposing Jupiter. So you could have this new relationship. To me, I see this as a time to have a new beginning in a relationship because Libra is all about partnerships. And especially since it's connecting with Mercury and Venus and Pluto in a trine, it's a positive aspect. And even though it's the new moon in Libra, it's still close enough in degree. It's like an out of sign aspect. But the way you're going to create something powerful is through communicating, through being willing to compromise, talking it out, go deep. You can't have a superficial conversation. If you have to fix a relationship, you have to go deep and really talk about the things that mean something to you. Don't sweep things under the rug because Gemini sometimes doesn't like to go deep. You just want to let's just forget about that. Let's not deal with that. It's uncomfortable. You may have to have some uncomfortable conversations, but it's going to be positive in the end because it's going to bring you closer to someone. It's going to create a stronger bond. So don't be afraid to open up and be vulnerable. And be willing to compromise. That's going to be important. Mars is trining Saturn. Mars is in Gemini in your 1st house, trining Saturn, Mars is 18 degrees, Saturn's 19 degrees, Saturn's in the ninth house. So this is a really good time for you to, especially if you want to go back to school or get more training, because the ninth house is the house of higher education. It's also the house of travel, long distance travel. So if you're wanting to reach out, if you're wanting to plan a trip, this would be great. Plan or reach out to companies that are have a global reach. You know, maybe you're expanding your business. You want to expand your business and reach out to people beyond your immediate environment. This is a great aspect for that. It's a great aspect for you to do the work, gain the skills, even share your wisdom. Because if you're older, you may have wisdom. You may want to teach what you know. That's a good it's a good time to do that. Mars trine Saturn, it gives you that ambition and that energy. The only thing you have to break free of is what's holding you back, because you got Uranus squaring in your 12th house. So it's squaring Saturn. You may have some psychological blocks that you have to overcome that have been sabotaging your success. So if you can focus on that and bring that to the surface and heal that, you're unstoppable. You can really achieve something solid and long-lasting this month, especially in relationships, in romance, and creative projects. Because the 5th house is the house of fun. So if you've been all work and no play, you can have more fun this month around this new moon. This is on September 25th. We don't have very many negative aspects. It's more, it's a very strong energy. But it revolves around communication, and it revolves around speaking your truth and letting people know what you want, what you need in a relationship, making time for fun. Don't be all work and no play, and breaking free of blockages, psychological blocks, fears, anything that's holding you back. So that's going to be the key to your success this month. Breaking free, use your communication gift. You have the gift of communication as a Gemini. That is your strength. Gemini is the storyteller, the communicator. So you are more comfortable with that method of dealing with the world than other signs. Some signs are afraid of communication, but not you. You just have to learn how to use that energy in a positive way and not be afraid to show your genuine self. But you may have to compromise. Don't be afraid to meet someone else halfway and compromise, and you'll get what you want. So that's my forecast, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know if this resonated with you. I love to read the comments. And if you'd like a private reading, because this is general, it may not apply to everyone, but if you want a reading that's specifically based on your situation, click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to my website, and we can get you on the schedule. In the meantime, thank you everyone for supporting this channel. If you're new, welcome. And I hope you have a wonderful September. And I'll talk to you next month. Okay, bye now.